She's a dim sum fanatic. I had to read that or it really could have come out wrong. She's a feminist and a freshman in high school. This girl has moxie because she's here for her first Story Slam. Welcome, Claire.
My father does a lot of things well. However, to balance all the things he does well, it takes a lot of focus, and my dad 100% has that. Sometimes, though, he spends more time focusing on one thing than he does others. I was 4, and Valentine's Day was right around the corner. I walked into a store filled with candy, stuffed animals, and bright pink sparkly objects. Every 4-year-old girl's dream. As we shuffled through the store, we happened to walk past the teddy bears, which in reality had probably been made in some low-quality factory in China and was going to break the minute I brought it home. But that did not matter. I needed it, badly. So I stopped and stared while my father, a man who could turn out the world almost too easily, kept on trotting, leaving me alone in the aisle staring at the bear without even realizing I had been abandoned. Now, when my father walks, he walks with purpose, always going somewhere important. He continued walking through the CVS with purpose as he got to the register. Now, he later explained to me that as he turned to look down at me, he was left helpless, and instead of seeing his little girl, there was a mysterious stain on the floor that could have been cigarette ashes, vomit, or mildew. I was not there. In his mind, I was kidnapped in the trunk of a car about 30 miles away from crossing the New Jersey state border. He bounded over the mysterious stain and sprinted through the aisles, frantically searching for me. At this point, I had finally turned to ask my dad if I could buy the bear, and right as I did, I saw him swooping down the aisle like an eagle stalking its prey. An old lady turned to give him the finger as he shoved her into the assorted gummies. With one grab, I was thrusted into his arms, and he stared at me with wide, gaping eyes. "Are you okay?" he questioned, still catching his breath. "Yeah, of course, Dad. Why?" I asked, giggling. "Because I left you," he said, realizing he should have stopped himself before saying that. No, I didn't leave you. I just strolled off for a minute." My father, a man who could think quick on his feet, mustered up some sort of excuse for what he had done was definitely not abandonment. "What are we looking at here?" he asked, changing gears. "I want a teddy bear. Can I get one?" "Yes, of course." And then came the famous words I'd been hearing for over a decade now. "Just don't tell your mother." Now, as clueless as my father could be at points, my mom has a side of her own. She grew up in the tough streets of New York and taught me the valuable things every 4-year-old needed to know in case she was planning on going to Queens in the year 1974. Now, you can't hit a kid first, but if they whale you, you whale them so hard the head spins. Don't ever walk 3 abreast in the city. You look like a tourist on matinee day and someone will take your purse. One afternoon, after a shopping trip, we were driving out of the parking lot, and my mom and I were chatting it up as we typically did. Well, I was chatting, and my mom was listening and answering every little question that popped in my teeny tiny head. Right as she turned to answer my latest question on ladybugs or why Mr. Rogers lived in that goddamn neighborhood, a UPS truck went flying by, completely cutting her off. And being that she is from Queens, she shrieked the words most appropriate for this situation. "Holy mother of fuck!" And I, being the impressionable 4-year-old that I was, screamed it right along with her. "Mommy, holy mother of fuck!" Now, I didn't get it right on the first try. In later years and many more car rides with my mother, I now have it down pat. Now, my mother, hearing this, screeched the car to a halt, realizing what she had just taught me. "Wait, you said what?" she hollered as the guilt washed over her. "Oh my God, I broke my child." I laughed hysterically to myself when my mother tried to figure out an answer, but she turned to me and said, "Now, Claire, you may say that, but only with me. Oh, and learn to say it right. None of that fook shit in my car." I nodded in agreement as we drove off down the road. "Oh, also," she uttered, "just don't tell your father."